Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. One of the biggest things that I've been focused on is control around this entire asset class, right? It's a very nascent, very early on asset class. And when we have something like that and it's growing in popularity and it's hitting $3 trillion in market cap, we start to have a lot of eyes put on us. And then we also have a lot of attacks and crackdowns put in place. And as we really look at that, right, back in the summertime, I was mainly talking about BlackRock and how they are the largest percentage holder of everything around us and how they will soon become the largest percentage holder of Bitcoin and pretty much control Bitcoin. And a lot of people thought that this was a joke and that it wasn't going to happen, that I was just making things up. But guess what? We actually know that they've been buying Bitcoin heavily and accumulating so much of it to the point where they are basically now in a very, very good position to ultimately control Bitcoin. Now, we will talk about that later on in this video, but mainly I was looking at it as control, right? Wall Street has now infiltrated this entire space and they have a significant percentage of the market. And this was all in place by the regulators. In fact, in my opinion, in the US, we have had regulators working with these large giants like BlackRock, for an example, to take control of this space through any means necessary. Now, if we go back in time to the summertime as well, there was this report by Bitcoin.com, Custodia Bank founder Caitlin Long, the Fed thinks only large incumbents should service crypto. And what's funny about this, right, is with the ETF discussion and with all of the ETF moves, I even said it on the channel that this is a way for them to become the major service providers of crypto. And at the same exact time during 2023, the middle to the summertime, there was a crackdown put in place around crypto. And the regulators were the ones in charge with the Federal Reserve. We actually have confirmation of this. And here we actually have Caitlin Long saying that all of this is a coordinated crackdown on cryptocurrency banking service providers with the involvement of the White House in the process. And yes, it includes all of the big players like Charles Schwab, Citadel Securities, Fidelity, BlackRock, you name it. And the Fed is essentially picking and choosing which companies and banks can get access to their services. And this was a big cutthroat move by the Federal Reserve, by the regulators, and it was all hand in hand and a major attack against crypto. And the best way that I could describe all of this is them trying to cut out as much funding as possible, which, by the way, is what really kind of keeps the crypto heart beating. And without it, well, now you have liquidity drying up around the space and you start to have some major sell-offs. You start to see turmoil in the market. And we did see that for a slight time there when we started to see banks going belly up. And a lot of them were crypto-focused banks that were providing funding to startups in the space. That was a big blow to crypto. But also, it seems as though we are starting to see some pretty big moves going back against the SEC. For an example, SAB 121, this was a big one by the SEC, and this was blocking banks from providing custody of digital assets. Now, Congress actually just recently introduced a joint resolution to revoke this, but this is some of the things that are already in place around this space that can really be cutthroat to this entire industry. And this is also why I say they are trying to debank crypto. They're trying to cut off all sources of funding and even custody services that are crucial. And it's insane that this is a regulator doing this. At the same exact time, though, we just got this from the other day. The US government seems to be closing in on Bitcoin mining. The Department of Energy survey to collect data about crypto's energy consumption could be used to justify the stance that blockchain poses a public harm. And the thing is that blockchain doesn't pose a public harm. It harms the banking sector. Because when we look at DeFi initiatives, as a retail investor, I would rather tap into crypto and earn 5%, for an example, APY, which is unseen in the traditional banking sector, And I would also rather invest into crypto than holding my money in a bank account, losing at least 2% per year. And I say at least 2% because I know that's a lot more, but that's what the Fed is trying to get inflation down to, which is 2%, which means they want you to lose 2% on your money. Outside of this, we have Biden admin's war on crypto continues. Pathetic. And here's Biden has declared a federal emergency because Bitcoin is winning. And here you can actually see, as evidence, the price of Bitcoin has increased roughly 50% in the last 3 months. That's the highlighted thing here. What's crazy about this, right, is the fact that they are concerned. They are worried. But they also don't want you to get rich. A lot of people think that that is a crazy statement, but it is true. In fact, if we go back in time, go back to February of 2022, right? This is where the SEC planned on 10xing the definition of a credit investor. For those out there that don't know, a credit investor means $1 million plus. They wanted to make this limit to $10 million. This would make it extremely hard for ordinary people to invest in startups, where you could actually see the most amount of money generated. But what's crazy about this, right, is that the term accredited investor is already extremely hard for ordinary individuals to tap into. But they wanted to make it even harder, which means, guess what? Now only the wealthy can get wealthier. But this is why a lot of people have been in an outrage against the regulators, against the institutions, the big players. We have people been historically financially locked out. The inclusion of more people also pushes economic development. But the thing is that they don't want as many people in this space as possible because they don't want people making a ton of money. That's why when we look at this, it's fully focused on startups where the most amount of money is typically made. Now, I already put out a report on this back in August as well, where I was really kind of talking about DeFi. And I said the DeFi space is about to be regulated and taxed to oblivion. They know there is a lot of money flowing through DEXs. They also know that DeFi is a threat to the traditional banking sector. And this is all what it's about. They know how big of a threat crypto really is to the traditional banks. Think about the APY percentage in DeFi versus traditional banking. A direct quote from the FDIC themselves confirms that 0.42%, not even a whole percent APY, is the national average interest rate on savings accounts. That's not beating inflation. You're still losing roughly 1.5%. Any return in the traditional world gets evaporated by inflation. DeFi has many risks and you need to be aware of it, but it directly threatens traditional banking. People are realizing how big of a scam fractional reserve banking is. They understand that the system is designed to work against them. Big money is flowing through the space and they are aware. Why do you think you have clowns like Brad Sherman saying crypto bros print money out of thin air? Meanwhile, he is acknowledging that the government does the same thing, but they can because they are the US government. They always target this space using the same old tactics. They mention money laundering, drug activity, etc. Of course, we know that the US dollar has been used for the same exact things forever. Those who are paid for and work for the incumbent bankers will go to any length to target the space. Why do you think that we are seeing CBDCs becoming a reality? Because the central bankers realize that this technology would win. That's why they need CBDCs in order to retain power and make money off of this space. Christine Lagarde has said the same exact thing. We need to retain Anchor. Comical. Now, outside of this, why am I bringing this back up? Well, because we got this video yesterday and there it is. Send the peasants into crypto ETFs because that's the safest place. This was the plan to contain and take over control of crypto. They've actually said it out loud, take the assets under management, store it away, and sell the public on the derivative products. They will not be selling you the actual asset. And big shout out to Chad Steingraber and Digital Asset Investor for this. Listen closely to this clip of Jay Clayton.
We should be looking at making it easier to raise capital for smaller and medium-sized companies and making it easier for accredited, non-accredited investors or even accredited investors to participate in those opportunities. That has met with great headwinds on Capitol Hill. There is a strong faction of people who believe that those opportunities should not be made available to ordinary investors, that ordinary investors, at worst case, should be pushed into index funds and index funds only, because that's the safest place. We should.
And this is the number one thing that I have been talking about since day one on this channel, is how they are going to try to keep you in that rat race. They don't want you escaping. Think about it like this, right? Think about how crazy it is that they want to limit you and put accredited investor limits on all of this at the same exact time that they will gladly let you walk right into a casino, mortgage your house, and gamble it away. There's no limits at the casino. Nobody's going to walk up to you, tap you on the shoulder, and say, hey, you just lost $100. You don't need to lose $100 more. Please walk out. No, nobody's going to hold your hand. You are going to walk into that casino, and 9 times out of 10, and I would argue it's probably even 9.9 times out of 10, you are going to lose your money. But guess what? They're fine with that, because if you're gambling, hey, that means that you're most likely going to lose out. But if you are investing into something like crypto, that means that you could potentially change your entire life. I have witnessed people change their lives in crypto from investing just $100 to $1,000. Now, is that realistic? In no shape, way, or form is that realistic, but it's still a reality in crypto, and they don't want you achieving any of it. It's the number one reason why I say, you know, XRP and a lot of these big players in the space, they are being targeted. They are trying to be killed by these big players. And it's insane that a lot of people are not focused on this. But, like I said, going back to the BlackRock ETFs and all that, well, we have proof that BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF now holds $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. This is insane for this to be out less than a month, and they're already up to $3 billion. Remember, this continues to climb. At some point, we will see the intersect between Grayscale and what's happening with BlackRock. Check this out. Big shout out to XRP Drops and Paul Barron for this.
A couple other things right here. BlackRock, of course, Spot Bitcoin ETF now holds $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. This is insane for this to be out less than a month. They're up $3 billion. Remember, this continues to climb. At some point, we will see the intersect between Grayscale and what's happening with BlackRock or Fidelity. I think those will be the two to keep a very close eye on. Sentiment right now, we've got our ETF tracker. Make sure and check it out over on our website. Just go to Paul Barron Network and go to the Market Sentiment Index. You can actually get to an ETF tracker. A couple of points I do want to hit on here. BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF overtakes Grayscale's GBDC in daily volume. I think this is the bigger point here, is that if this continues in terms of daily volume, then the pace in which we'll start to see this around maybe GBDC starting to reposition their rate, which is still at holding it at 1.5, to maybe try to, is it going to be too late is my question. I don't know. That's the question I think everybody's asking right now. But Fidelity's FBDC was third right now at 171.84 million in volume. GBDC came in at 292, and of course BlackRock was 303. So big numbers right there on Spot for sure in a good period of time. Now,
so there we have it. And again, over here, we could actually see final numbers for BlackRock is in, as Aladdin picked up 3,806 Bitcoin for a grand total of 70,006 in 15 trading sessions. Valued at current prices over $3 billion. Anytime you see the market dip, BlackRock is buying. And again, remember, Aladdin is AI programmed. They are trying to corner this market and control as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. And this is why I said, guess what? The regulators, they were the turnkey, unlock the door, and let them flood in. And now we are witnessing this in real time. It's absolutely crazy that a lot of people are not focused on this more. Again, they're probably blinded by the idea of greed and thinking that BlackRock is about to pump this market into a massive amount of capital. For an example, they think that Bitcoin's going to like $500,000. It's ridiculous. At the end of the day, right? When we talk about how much accumulation is happening from these big players like Wall Street giants like BlackRock, they are not your friends. They are not your friends at all. It's the number one reason why BlackRock has as much money as it does in assets under management, and also why they are one of the largest companies out there. At the end of the day, I think that we need to be more aware of what's really going on. They're trying to stop out the retail sector from becoming extremely wealthy. They want to try to control the space in every single way that they can. And I think that what we really need to look at is who are the ones trying to stop everything. Operation Choke Point 2.0 really put a spotlight on all of the big players that were tied to this: politicians, regulators, big banks, financial giants. I mean, hell, we still have Jamie Dimon, which is the CEO of the largest bank globally, telling you, hey, Bitcoin's this, Bitcoin's that, crypto's this, crypto's that, while manipulating the space and accumulating as much Bitcoin as they possibly can. It's insane. And they also run private Ethereum blockchain-based technology. It is insane. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys more free content. You guys are more than follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. Also, guys, NordVPN, they gave us an official link for the channel. You can now save up to 72% off by checking out the Ultimate Edition, which includes so much more than just the VPN and also the malware protection and tracker and ad blocker. Guys, 72% off, and they are giving you 4 extra months for free using my link specifically. There's the standard, the plus, and the ultimate, and you guys can see how much a month you are actually paying. This is another layer of security that I personally think is so damn crucial. I'm not sponsored by NordVPN. I'm simply an affiliate, and yes, I do make money off of you buying through my link. You don't need to use my link, but hey, if you use it, you do save a ton of money. So if you guys do want to go check it out, you guys are more than welcome to, with links down in the description below, as well as in the comments below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.